Hello, my friends. How are you today? This is Tamir. And lately I published my first ebook on Amazon. Ma- what do I mean? Lately, yesterday or day before. And I need some reviews. So I will put the description, the link to the book in Amazon on the description. And I will be very grateful if you can help me and read the book and give me reviews. It will be very helpful. Thank you. And I did some infograph and the audio summary on Notebook LM of the book, so you can hear it, what it is about. So it will maybe give you a drive to download the book and read it. Thank you, and I will see you the next time. Bye bye.
I want you to imagine something for a second. Imagine you've been holding a map your entire life,
Okay.
and you use this map for everything. It tells you how to navigate your career, your relationships, even how you think about your own happiness. You trust this map implicitly.
Right.
But then one day you're standing there lost, and someone taps you on the shoulder and says, "Hey, buddy, you're holding that map upside down."
And we aren't talking about a small navigational error here. We are talking about a complete inversion. North is south, the mountains are valleys.
Yeah, welcome to the deep dive.
Ah,
Today we are unpacking a source that honestly made me a little dizzy.
it's a lot to take in.
It really is. It's a text titled Olam Hafut, which translates to I Saw an Upside-Down World. It's based on the teachings of a contemporary thinker named Tamir, but it pulls from ancient Kabbalah and the Talmud to basically argue that everything we think we know about the body, the soul, and freedom is just completely backwards.
It is a radical text. I mean, most of us, whether we are religious or secular, we operate on this dualistic assumption. Right.
The spirit or the mind is the high part of us. It's the noble part, and the body. The body is the low part.
It's the animal.
Exactly. It's the cage we are stuck in.
The meat suit. We're just ghosts driving a meat suit.
Precisely. And this source comes along and says, no, you have it backwards. The body is the vessel of truth. The mind is the liar. And boundaries, the very things we try to escape, are the only reason you exist at all.
Okay, before we get into the heavy philosophy, we have to start with the story that gives the text its title, because it sounds like a ghost story.
It does, yeah. It's from the Talmud. It's about Rabbi Yosef, the son of Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi. Yosef gets sick, extremely sick. In fact, he experiences clinical death.
Wow.
He passes over to the other side.
And then miraculously, he comes back.
Right.
He wakes up. And naturally, his father, who is this great sage, is sitting right there and asks the question literally any of us would ask. What did you see?
And Yosef's answer is chilling. He says, I saw an upside-down world. The upper ones were below and the lower ones were above. Meaning, the people who were big shots down here, the celebrities, the powerful, the rich, they were nobodies up there.
Mm-hmm.
And the people who were invisible here were the VIPs there.
But here's the part that really matters. His father doesn't say, oh, you were hallucinating due to a lack of oxygen.
Right.
He looks at his son and says, my son, you saw a clear world.
A clear world.
Mm-hmm.
So the implication is that we are the ones living in the hallucination. We are the ones seeing it upside down.
Correct. So if we want to see the world clearly, we have to flip our perspective. And the first place the text tells us to look is the thing right under our noses. Or rather, the thing that is our nose. The body.
The truth detector. Now, this is where I got stuck almost immediately.
How so?
Because if you ask me where knowledge happens, I'd point to my head. I'd say it's brain activity, it's neurons firing.
Yeah.
But this text seems to say that's not real knowledge.
It draws a very hard line between believing and knowing. The source quotes Maimonides, the great philosopher. Maimonides writes that the foundation of everything is to know there is a first being. Not to imagine, not to believe, but to know.
But how do you know something metaphysical like that?
Well, let me give you an analogy. Do you believe that the chair you're sitting in right now will hold you up?
I mean, yeah, I'm sitting in it.
No, you aren't believing it anymore. Before you sat down, maybe you believed it. Now that your weight is in it, you know it.
Oh, I see.
You know it with your glutes. You know it with your spine. Knowledge in this framework is physical. It's settled. The text quotes the book of Job From my flesh I shall see God.
From my flesh,
From
not
her-
from my PhD.
Exactly. Think about the difference between a philosophy debate and a lie detector test.
Okay.
If I hook you up to a polygraph, I don't care what your philosophy is. I don't care how smart you are. I am asking your body questions.
And if I lie?
Your body betrays you. Your pulse spikes, your palms sweat, your stomach tightens. You might be sitting there with a poker face saying, I am perfectly calm, I didn't steal the money, but your body is screaming the truth at 120 beats per minute.
That's terrifying, actually. It's like there's a second version of me inside that's just brutally honest.
The source argues that the body cannot lie. It is subject to absolute truth. If it's cold, you shiver. You can't think your way out of hypothermia.
Right, you just freeze.
Exactly. If you touch fire, you burn. The body is the seal of truth because it has no choice but to react to reality as it actually is.
So, if the body is this beacon of truth, why do we spend so much time trying to escape it? I mean, look at meditation or even just daydreaming. We're constantly trying to get out of our bodies.
Because the body has limits, and human beings hate limits.
True.
But the text makes a fascinating point here about Jewish law, or halacha. It argues that the Torah isn't really a book of theology, it's an operating manual for the biological machine.
An operating manual.
Look at the structure of it. Tradition says there are 613 commandments, 248 positive ones, meaning do this, and 365 negative ones, meaning don't do this.
Right.
The source points out that this corresponds exactly to the human anatomy. 248 limbs and organs, 365 veins and tendons.
So the law is basically mapped onto the hardware.
Yes. It's not asking you to float away into the ether. It's telling you what to put in your mouth, when to sleep, how to wash your hands, who to touch. It's aggressively physical.
That is a total shift.
The argument is that the body isn't a prison you're serving a sentence in. It's the home. And more importantly, it's the only place where truth can actually land.
Okay, so if the body is the truth, who is the liar? Because the text throws a serious accusation at the mind. It calls the soul, or the psychological mind, the beautiful lie.
The lie of creation. It sounds harsh, but think about it functionally. The mind is the only thing in the universe that can fabricate a reality that does not exist.
Give me an example.
Okay. A rock is a rock. It can't pretend to be a tree.
Right.
A dog is 100% a dog. It's never having an identity crisis. But you can be lying in a comfortable bed, totally safe, temperature perfect, belly full. But in your mind,
I'm stressing out.
you are reliving a fight from 3 years ago. Or you're terrifying yourself about a presentation next Tuesday.
Oh man, I do that all the time. I'm in the shower arguing with people who aren't even there.
We all do.
Huh?
Physically, you are in the shower. Mentally, you are in a war zone. The source says 99% of human suffering comes from the mind's ability to time travel and fabricate scenarios that are not happening.
Wow.
The body is always in the present. The mind is rarely there.
You know, the text uses a really modern analogy for this chaotic mind state. It compares it to the internet.
It's a perfect comparison for what Kabbalah calls tohu, or the world of chaos. Think about the internet. It is infinite information.
No boundary.
Exactly. You click a link, then another, then another. 1 minute you're reading about ancient Rome, the next you're watching a cat video, then you're reading a conspiracy theory.
And after an hour of that, you don't feel smarter. You feel fried.
You feel empty. Because light without a vessel destroys. Information without structure is just noise. The unbridled human mind is like a browser with 1,000 tabs open.
That is painfully accurate.
It's exhausting. The body is the only thing that says, hey, close the tabs. We are here. The floor is hard. The coffee is warm.
So waking up isn't about transcending reality. It's about crashing back into it.
Right. The text talks about dreams. In a dream, you are limitless. You can fly. You can talk to dead people. Time bends.
It's like the ultimate spiritual experience.
But it's not real. Waking up is painful because you suddenly feel gravity again. You feel the limits. But the source says that limit is where life actually happens.
This brings us to a concept that I've heard of but never really fully understood. Simsum. It means constriction, right?
Yes. And this is the theological pivot of the whole deep dive. We have to ask the big question. Why did the infinite God, the universe, whatever term you prefer, why create a world at all?
I always just assumed it was because he, I don't know, got lonely, wanted friends.
The Kabbalistic answer is much deeper. If you are infinite Ein Sof, you are everything. But if you are everything, you experience nothing.
Wait, run that by me again. If I'm everything, surely I experience everything.
Let's use sound as an example. Imagine a sound, a single perfect tone. It never stops. It never changes pitch. It just goes on forever. Is that music?
No, that's a migraine.
Yeah.
That's just noise.
Exactly. For there to be music, the sound has to stop. There have to be pauses.
Oh.
There has to be variation. There have to be limits. The source explains that the infinite constricted itself, simsim, to create a space where things can be separate, finite, and limited.
Because only in the finite can you have a relationship.
Only in the finite can you have a story.
So God wanted to be limited.
That's the paradox. We humans are desperate to be infinite. We want to live forever, know everything, be everywhere at once. We want to be like God.
And God wanted to be human.
The infinite wanted a dwelling place in the lower worlds. It wanted to feel the edge of things.
That completely reframes how I look at boundaries. I usually see boundaries as obstacles, like I can't afford that, or I don't have enough time, or I can't jump that high. I see those as failures.
But the text says those boundaries are what give your life value. Think about a hug.
Okay.
A hug requires two separate borders, two distinct boundaries pressing against each other. If we were all one big cosmic soup of energy, you couldn't hug anyone. You couldn't love anyone because there would be no other to love.
There's a line in the text that's pretty graphic about this. A living dog is better than a dead lion.
It's a brutal image, but it works perfectly. The lion represents that infinite potential, king of the beasts, massive, powerful.
Right.
But if it's dead, it has no vessel. It's gone. The dog might be small, scruffy, and limited. It has to eat. It has to sleep. It can't roar like a lion, but it is alive.
Life is defined by limitation.
Yes.
But man, do we fight that. We really, really don't like being told no or enough.
And that rebellion against limits, that is what the source calls the ego.
Let's talk about the ego. Because the text goes all the way back to the Garden of Eden for this. It talks about the snake.
The snake is the original salesman of the ego. Look at the pitch he makes to Eve. He doesn't say, eat this fruit. It tastes like strawberries.
Right, he says, eat this and you will be like God.
Knowing good and evil, he was promising limitlessness. He was saying, you don't have to follow rules. You don't have to be a creature in a garden. You can be the boss.
And we bought it.
We are still buying it.
How so?
The ego's drive is always more. More money, more power, more followers, more years of life. The ego refuses to look at a boundary and say, this is good. It looks at a boundary and says, how do I break this?
So if the ego is this engine that always wants to be infinite, the text says something pretty shocking about death. It says death isn't a punishment, it's a correction.
I know, it sounds a bit morbid at first, but follow the logic. Imagine if you had this ego, this drive, to be the center of the universe, to hold grudges, to accumulate power, and you were immortal.
Oh, I'd be a monster.
You'd be a monster in a world of monsters. Imagine a grudge that lasts 10,000 years. Imagine a dictator who never dies. That is hell.
So death is like a circuit breaker.
It's the ultimate boundary. It forces humility. It grabs the ego by the shoulders and says, you are not everything. You are temporary.
Wow.
And strange as it sounds, that mortality is what makes life precious. If you had infinite time, you'd never do anything. You'd never say, I love you, because you could just say it in a million years. Death forces us to choose what matters.
It seems like there's a pattern here. The good is structure, order, limits. The bad is chaos, infinity, ego. And that brings us to a section on equality. Now, this is a dangerous word to touch these days.
Yeah.
But the text warns against absolute equality.
We need to be very careful with definitions here. It is not talking about political equality or human rights.
Right.
It's talking about structure. The text uses the terms circles and straight lines.
Which sounds like geometry class. Help me out here.
Think of a circle. Every point on the circumference is equal distance from the center. No point is higher or lower.
Okay.
That's nature. That's the chaos of the jungle. But the text argues for straight lines, which implies a hierarchy. Top and bottom, cause and effect.
The painting metaphor really helped me visualize this when I read it.
Right. Imagine a canvas. If every color demands equality, if the blue wants to be everywhere the red is and the yellow wants to be in the exact same spot, what do you get?
You get brown sludge. You get a mess.
Exactly. For a painting to exist, there must be discrimination. The blue goes here, not there. The dark is here to make the light pop. The colors are not equal in position, but they work together to make an image.
And if we bring it back to the body, if my heart decides it wants to be a lung because, hey, we're all equal organs, I'm dead.
That is literally the definition of cancer. A cell that refuses its boundary, refuses its specific role, and tries to be everything. It spreads without limit.
That makes so much sense.
The source argues that true peace isn't sameness. It's the harmony of different parts with different functions. A finger needs to be a finger, an eye needs to be an eye.
Okay, so we've covered the philosophy, we've turned the map upside down. We know the body is truth, the mind lies, and boundaries are actually good things.
Yes.
But how do we actually do this? How do we live this way without just feeling constricted all the time?
The source offers what I'd call technologies of the self. Ancient practices designed to train us in this way of thinking. And it starts with bread.
Bread. Chametz and matzah? I always thought this was just about remembering the Israelites leaving Egypt in a hurry.
That's the historical layer. But look at the physical layer. What is the actual difference between chametz, which is leavened bread, and matzah, the flat bread?
Ingredients.
Nope. Flour and water, both of them.
Is it the oven?
No, it is time.
Yeah.
That's it. If you mix flour and water and bake it immediately, you get matzah. If you mix them and wait, it ferments, it rises, it fills with gas.
Hot air.
Exactly. Leavened bread represents the ego. It's puffy, it looks big, but if you crush it, it's mostly air. It takes up space it didn't earn. Matzah is the bread of poverty or humility. It is exactly what it is. No fluff, no hot air.
So eating matzah isn't just a dietary restriction for a holiday, it's anti-ego training.
It's a physical ritual to internalize humility. The goal isn't just to eat crackers for a week. It's to be kosher for Passover internally all year round.
I love that.
To keep your ego flat, to be effective and dense with purpose rather than inflated with pride.
The next one hits even harder for me. Shabbat. In a world where we are glued to our phones, the idea of a stop button just feels impossible.
And that's why it's so critical. We talked about boundaries in space, like the body. Shabbat is a boundary in time.
But it's so hard. I've tried doing a digital detox for a day. You feel the phantom buzz in your pocket. You feel anxious. You feel like you're missing out.
That anxiety, that is the slave mentality. The source argues that if you cannot stop, you are not free. You are slave to the device, to the boss, to the news cycle.
So stopping is an act of rebellion.
It's the ultimate declaration of freedom. You are saying the world can spin without me for 25 hours. You are putting a period at the end of the sentence of the week.
Without the period, the sentence just runs on forever.
And a run-on sentence loses its meaning. Shabbat angers us back in the upside-down world. We stop trying to control the universe, which is the mind's obsession, and we just exist in it. We eat, we sleep, we look at our families, we return to the body.
So we've gone through the body, the mind, the ego, and the practices. Where does this all lead? Because usually the story is you live, you learn, you die, and your soul flies off to a better place. The end.
But if this source is right, if the upside-down world is the true one, then escaping the body can't be the goal.
Right. If the body is the truth, why would we want to ditch it?
We wouldn't. This is where the concept of resurrection comes in, the return. The ultimate goal isn't to become an angel. It's to bring the light down here, to infuse the physical world with holiness.
There's a weird detail in the text here about a Lisbon.
Yeah.
It sounds like something out of a fantasy novel.
Ah, it does sound like magic. Tradition says there is a tiny bone or a seed at the base of the spine that never decays. It survives death.
Is that biological?
Think of it as a metaphor for a hard drive or DNA. The idea is that the body contains a memory that endures. The physical form you have isn't a disposable wrapper, it's the project. It contains a seed of eternity.
But, and there's a big but, we can't have this return until we fix the ego.
Precisely. Imagine resurrecting a world full of people who still have their inflated chametz egos. It would be an eternal war. It would be a disaster.
So we are doing the work now. Flattening the ego, keeping boundaries, respecting the body, so that we are ready for the upgrade.
We are fixing the vessel so it can hold the light without shattering. We are learning how to be limitless within limits.
Wow. It really is a complete inversion. We started this deep dive thinking the spirit is the prize and the body is the cage. And we're ending with the idea that the body is the temple and the spirit is just learning how to be a good tenant.
It changes everything, doesn't it? It changes how you walk down the street. It changes how you eat. It changes how you look at your own limitations. Instead of fighting them, you realize this is where the music happens. This is where the life is.
So as we wrap up, let's turn that map over one last time. We've learned that the body is the truth teller. We've learned that the ego's desire for more is a trap. And we've learned that being just a human in a physical world isn't a consolation prize. It's the main event.
And we've learned that the ultimate spiritual act might just be being normal, being here, being humble.
I want to leave you with a thought from the text about that seed rotting in the earth. It looks like the end, but it's the beginning of a new form.
And here is the question I want you to carry with you this week. If your life is a vessel and boundaries are what give it value, what boundary in your life are you fighting right now that might actually be defining your purpose?
Is it a job? A relationship?
Yeah.
A physical limitation? Maybe stop fighting it for a second and ask what it's trying to hold. Thanks for diving in with us.
A pleasure as always.
See you next time on The Deep Dive.